Yeah.
Hi guys, it's Red Baron 59 back with another YouTube video, and today I want to give you a summary of the best games that I saw last night in Sony's press conference. And I want to say honestly, I think it was one of their strongest press conferences ever for many different reasons. Honestly, every single console exclusive looked amazing, like blue Cod's visuals out the water. But that's to be expected because we got to dumb it down for other consoles, and they have to port it over to different games, so they can't always make it the best that they can make it. But however, though, we saw a lot of really great games and a lot of very intriguing titles, and we had some pretty cool news. There was a lot of betas that will be, first get on PlayStation, or either beta exclusive on PlayStation, which will be pretty cool to see, honestly. First off, though, there was Mass Effect Andromeda, which was not part of PlayStation's trailer, but it looks amazing. And it was really not a lot of information, but it was great visuals. It was pretty much a 2-minute cinematic trailer, but it's cool to see that they're finally talking about the next Mass Effect. And I can't wait to actually see what they're going to be doing with that game. Now, second, there was The Last Guardian, and that would be the first of all the games they talked about at PlayStation's press conference. Stunning, gorgeous visuals, reminiscent of what you saw with The Witcher. Fantastic lighting, the likes of which we've never really been able to do on PlayStation. Like through the trees, dust effects, particle effects, things that we just really never saw. We saw them, but just not on this type of scale. Anyway, though, there was a very interesting physics. It was what I would call flawless. It was very reminiscent of how people would actually stumble around in real life. It was a young kid walking around in what looked like a temple. Reminded me of the last Colossi. With a griffin-type creature. Now, this creature seemed to be immature, like it had really undeveloped wings, kind of whimpered like a dog. It was interesting, but the two of them had a lot of cooperative elements going on in this gameplay trailer, and he's helping the griffin climb certain things. The griffin is helping him in turn climb certain things, and they're kind of exploring the game world together. And there was a couple of times the kid fell. The griffin caught him either with his tail or his mouth. The kid pushed down like a log at one point to save the griffin, and the griffin pulls him up further. And so it seems like it's going to be a heavy part of the game. I'm not sure if this, I would guess it would probably be the first couple of minutes of the game as they have right now is what I would guess. Kind of wasted a lot of time on this one, but we'll move on to Horizon Zero Dawn. It was a really interesting trailer. My wife referred to it as Robot Jurassic Park. Interesting bow combat and stealth elements. What I mean by interesting bow combat was that there was a scroll wheel in which there was a couple different kinds of arrows, which they switched to different ones at different points to allow her to use an electric one to hit certain parts of the robot, an explosive one to hit other parts of the robot, and what looked like it was a zip line type arrow to hit another part of said robot and to eventually take it down. But she used a segment of the robot she shot off with the explosive arrow to kind of shoot him with, which was pretty cool. And you see her do a lot of interesting things, avoiding the robot's scan by hiding within some other flora and fauna. And that's really all there was to say about it. They were talking to, of course she was telling the story of how they ended up in this situation, how mankind collapsed, but that they really didn't know exactly how, they didn't know what had happened to the older generation of humans, and some prophecy. Next though was Hitman, which had what I would describe as very beautiful graphics. Console exclusive beta was good news too, but it was basically a cinematic trailer again. No gameplay or anything like that, but it was brutal, fast-paced, interesting, and just great to see Hitman coming back because I'm a huge Hitman fan and I love those games growing up and would definitely be excited to play another one. Next is Street Fighter V. Again, not really a whole lot going on here, just a cinematic trailer. Showed a couple of new characters, a familiar art style, and again a console exclusive beta, which makes sense because it's typically been a PlayStation exclusive game. And so I'm pretty excited to see that go down as well. And then we have again Hello Games, the makers of No Man's Sky. Surprisingly, are at E3, as they said they wouldn't really be there, but they were there kind of to again remind people that they're around. They really didn't have anything new or informative for us in regards to how the game is played. You know, and they really didn't have any more information on when it will be releasing. I feel like it's going to be one of those games that we're just going to wait for forever, and I'm excited about it, but I feel like it's going to be one of those ones that they take so long to release that by the time it comes out, people have already forgotten about it. Because I think this is what their second E3 conference, and they still don't actually have a date of release. They really should have just not even come to E3 at this point, honestly. I mean, I feel like E3 is for game developers that are ready to release, and as excited as I am about the game, it is disappointing to see somebody talk about a game they're nowhere near ready to put out. Anyway, moving forward, Destiny the Taken King. Too soon for a new one to come out? I think so. It's coming out pretty much exactly a year later, and I think that pretty much confirms that they pulled a lot of the stuff that they showed for the original game to make it possible for them to release a new game quicker, which honestly is not the first time we've heard of this, and it's really petty, and again, another reason why I will not be buying any more Destiny games or content. I just can't do it. You know, I feel like it's one of the biggest rip-offs in the history of gaming, and whether that's Bungie's fault or whether that's Activision's fault, I don't really know. I wish they would have been more open about the situation and talked more in depth about why it happened this way, instead of just completely ignoring the community's questions and concerns in this regard. But I'm not really here to complain about Destiny at this point. But they did show new supers, and you know, like I said, I think it confirms the cut content conspiracy. Now, next they have Final Fantasy VII's Remake, one of the most iconic games of all time, honestly. And it was exciting to see them talking about it. As far as I can tell, it seems to be a completely new remake, basically taking the entire older game and just doing it over again, redesigning it, but basically, yeah, and I think that's going to be incredible. For me, Final Fantasy III was the very first game I ever played. It brought me to the love of gaming that I have today, and if you have never played that game, to get it through, whether through an emulator or if you have like an FC Twin or even an NES or Super Nintendo, you know, anything that will allow you to play the game, then I would go ahead and get my hands on it. I think you can buy it for like $30 on Super Nintendo, and I'm sure you can download it on an emulator for completely free. Either way, check it out, and I would definitely keep track of that game if I were you. Next, they had the Batman Arkham Knight game. It opened with a really creepy trailer of the Joker being cremated, and kind of, you know, talked from this police officer's perspective about how Batman died. They were concerned about the power vacuum. They were awaiting the conflict that they felt was definitely going to happen, but that it never came. But that in his heart of hearts, he felt like there was definitely going to happen, and that, you know, it just was still waiting, like a storm brewing, essentially. And he's talking, you know, he's in a diner and he's talking to a customer there. A customer asked him to ask this gentleman to stop smoking in one of the booths. So he comes up, approaches him, asks him to put out the cigarette, tells him there's no smoking, and then he turns around. He's got this like creepy lizard alien face, and you know, I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but it looked like it was obviously Scarecrow, unless it's like a new villain or somebody I'm just not familiar with. But it was a creepy looking shit. And they had, I guess all these mutants kind of come out of nowhere, which implies to me that it was probably Scarecrow, because his gas has, you know, as everybody knows, the ability to make you hallucinate and see your wife's nightmares, the scariest shit you can imagine. And it would seem really ambitious, you know, I would say that. And I'm pretty excited to see whether it's from the perspective of this cop. And, you know, I'm excited to see whether it's from the perspective of this cop or not. And, you know, I'll be linking all this information in the description below, and hopefully you can check out the E3 information for yourself and see what it's all about, you know, and you know, I think that basically for me covered the games I was pretty interested in. Metal Gear Solid 5, obviously they talked about that some more. I feel like Hideo is taking forever to put that game out, but that's just typical of him. Really, honestly, I still want to know why they abandoned the... Honestly, I'm more concerned with figuring out why they're not going to put the new Silent Hill game out, and why exactly Hideo decided to cancel that. It's a strange thing for him to flake on, especially when he says it's so close to the end of his career. I would like to see the game get put out, especially considering there may never really be a new Silent Hill to come, let alone if there is one as good as the ones that he has made himself. But again, I'll probably buy the Metal Gear Solid game. Now, if you enjoyed the video and you find it informative, please drop me a like. It did take me a while to put this together, and if you want to see more informative videos or, you know, basically gameplays, useful tips and tricks, things like that, make sure to subscribe for great content. And you can follow me on Twitter at redbaron59, and you know, it's spelled the same as my YouTube name. I'll see you guys next time, and again, also you can catch me on Twitch sometimes. I'll see you next time. Oh, and one last thing, I know I did say see you next time, but I do really appreciate everybody that has subscribed to this point and kind of returns and watches videos, and, you know, Ian and all my buddies that I already play with, basically, and, you know, anybody that's subscribed and leaves me comments, it's much appreciated. See you guys next time.
Yeah, dude. I don't give a fuck how many exclusive games Xbox has. Most of their exclusives are always shooters, because that's what their community cares about anyway. Oh my god. Oh, we're gonna win. Dude. I'm gonna be playing other games, but I'm gonna be bossing Black Ops 3. Nah, fuck Rainbow Six. I only got time for one shooter, man. I always fucking buy other shooters, and then I never really play them. I mean, I play Battlefield enough that it worked it for me to buy, but if I were to buy another shooter besides Battlefield, it would just be a waste of my money. What is it? Oh, no. Yeah, that's us. Yeah. Yes, sir, it is. Yeah, I played Battlefield, and outside of that, man, I can't devote that much time to any other game. It's just stretching myself too thin, you know? Nah, man, I thought Ghost was amazing. I thought Ghost was one of the best CODs that has ever been made. I think that was the problem with it. It was too good. It was made too well. The hit detection was too good. The connection was too good. So people hated it. Everything was perfected. The kill streaks were too balanced, the guns were too balanced, nothing was OP. So there was nothing for people to be like, yeah, this gun's fucking amazing, because everything was amazing in Ghost. I thought Black Ops 2 was one of the most annoying games ever made. I quit playing Black Ops 2 with the quickness. I'm one of the only guys that thinks Black Ops 2 is one of the worst Call of Duties ever made. I've always liked Infinity Ward's games better. Yeah, I think it's gonna be full of crap. I mean, it might be a good game, but it's definitely gonna be full of a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I think it'll be better than this game. I mean, Black Ops 2 is... Oh, I don't know, man. I like this game better than I like Black Ops 2. I mean, this game is the shit that gets on my nerves. Oh, yeah. We're gonna be doing it more. I mean, if we get serious about it before the next one comes out, we could actually stand to make some fucking money on the next one. But we'd actually have to get serious, like for real serious, and start playing. If we spent the next couple of months really grinding the shit out of it, we could actually do well. exactly. You only need game.